Welcome back to the 2-Minute Warning. Today I'm taking a look at the Chicago Bears and going over whether or not in the upcoming season I think they're a contender or a pretender. But before we get into the topic, just a quick question for those of you viewing. Comment down below what your Bears record prediction is for the 2021 season, and I'll give my answer at the end. But getting straight into it, I want to make it clear, contender for this video is I'm defining as a Super Bowl contender. A tier 1 team that doesn't necessarily have to be favored to win the Super Bowl, but is on par to win the Super Bowl. It wouldn't be a surprise. They're in the class of a reigning champ Buccaneers, a Kansas City Chiefs, Buffalo Bills, Green Bay Packers, LA Rams, Cleveland Browns, Baltimore Ravens, Tennessee Titans. They're around that realm. They're in the expected Super Bowl bubble. Pretenders, it doesn't necessarily mean a bad team, a top 5 draft pick team, a below 500 team. It just means you're not in that tier 1 status. But getting straight into it, looking at the Bears this year, phenomenal moves in the offseason, in my opinion, for the most part, primarily due to Justin Fields, of course. Just anytime you could get a franchise guy, doesn't matter what else happens in that offseason, you've executed, in my opinion. Obviously, we're going to have to see if he pans out, but I do think he is expected to. I like them picking him up. I like him maybe sitting behind Andy Dalton. I'll get into that a little bit more later. But either way, I like the Justin Fields move. I like them getting Tevin Jenkins in the second round. A pretty solid right tackle. He may play left, but either way, a good tackle to hopefully rely on for your QB of the future. Looking at the receiving room, we know how good Allen Robinson is. We know how much of a come-up Darnell Mooney is. I'm liking this receiving room. That's a pretty good duo in my opinion. Anthony Miller as well, not a bad guy to have. I'm liking this team. Jimmy Graham, I think he's still the tight end of the Bears if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. But either way, I'm liking what they got weapons-wise, especially just Allen Robinson being a top 10 receiver in the league. To have in their squad is nice to have. And I think if he wasn't franchise tag, Allen Robinson would be leaving. But Justin Fields may be a guy that could convince him to stay in the future. Looking at the backfield, David Montgomery, Monty, he believes he's one of the most underrated backs in the NFL. I think he's underrated to an extent. Do I think he's this top 8 running back that we're just not talking about? No. Is he a little bit under the radar? Yes. So either way, the offense is looking pretty good. I truly believe in Matt Nagy. The guy brought Mitch Trubisky to the playoffs twice. Who knows how far he could have gone if he had an actual kicker. I believe in Matt Nagy to help out this team a lot. Looking at the defense, we know how good this is. Led by Khalil Mack, having Akeem Hicks, Raquan Smith, Robert Quinn, Danny Trevathan, Desmond Trufant, Eddie Jackson. It's one of the better, if not one of the best defenses in the league. It's definitely top 10. It might be on the brink of top 5. It's the Chicago Bears. They have a great defense. That's the reason they went to the playoffs so many times under Mitch Trubisky. But after looking at them as a whole, where does my vote go? Contender or pretender? As of today, as of right now, I am voting pretender, and I'll tell you why. Because as of today, as of right now, the starting quarterback is Andy Dalton. As much as I like this defense, as much as I like the weapons on offense, as much as I like Matt Nagy, Andy Dalton is not winning a Super Bowl. In my eyes, he's not going to beat Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Matthew Stafford, Tom Brady, all in the NFC. And then in the AFC, he's not going to win a matchup against Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Derrick Henry. He's just not. That's not going to happen for Andy Dalton. Unfortunately, maybe if Justin Fields becomes this next best thing and Andy Dalton's the backup, maybe he can win, behind the starter against a Mahomes, against a Rodgers, against a Brady. But as a starter, I cannot see Andy Dalton doing that. Unless you get Khalil Mack, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Jair Alexander, Xavier Howard, TJ Watt on that defense, all on the same team, then maybe if your defense doesn't allow a single offense to score 0 points, sure. But Andy Dalton, I don't believe in. And I'm getting a little far here. I'm making it seem like this guy should just not be in the league. I do think he is a good backup to have on your team, but he's not a good backup's not a good starter by any means. So therefore, I just don't believe in them to be a contender this year. Now, if Justin Fields comes in, week 1 starter, rookie of the year, has a Big Ben type of rookie of the year where he leads his team to like 13 wins, then who knows if they could be a contender. I'm open to changing my mind from pretender to contender depending on the quarterback play and the quarterback situation. But as of today, while Andy Dalton is a starter of the Chicago Bears, they are not a contender in my eyes. Doesn't mean they can't be a decent team, be above 500, steal a wild card spot. But you can't tell me Andy Dalton and the Bears are with the Bucs, with the Chiefs, with the Bills, with the Rams, with the Packers, with the Seahawks, with the healthy Niners. They're not in that category. They're not in that Super Bowl. They're not in that class. I'm excited to see this year. I hope Justin Fields starts. I hope the Bears shake up the NFC North, the NFC. I hope to make the playoffs and Justin Fields is the next best thing. I predicted if he starts week 1, he will win Rookie of the Year. I do think Trevor Lawrence is better than Justin Fields, but given the circumstances, I think Justin Fields is on a much better today team. Jaguars got a lot to figure out. Brand new head coach in Urban Meyer, brand new weapons, a Tim Tebow thing, Urban Meyer thing, crowded backfield, defense isn't as great. Justin Fields, he's got a proven head coach. He's got a reliable defense. He's got an up-and-coming running back. He's got a proven wide receiver. He's got an up-and-coming wide receiver. He's got a decent offensive line. Justin Fields is in a much better situation compared to Trevor Lawrence in year one. So if he starts year one, he will win Rookie of the Year, but we'll just have to see. That's a debate for another video. However, if the Bears are smart, I'm starting Justin Fields week one. Obviously, I'm not seeing what they're seeing. Maybe in mini camps and training camps and practice, I think we'll get a better feel in preseason. But maybe if today they're just seeing it and thinking this can be a guy that has raw skill, he has pure talent. He's just not ready. He needs to sit behind a guy like Trey Lance is with Jimmy G, like Patrick Mahomes did with Alex Smith. Maybe he does need a year. I'm not with the Bears and seeing everything that they are, so I trust them to know the process better. But that's just my opinion from a blind point of view of not seeing him every day. I like Justin Fields to start week one. But you guys tell me, do you agree or disagree with my take? Do you think I'm completely wrong? Think they're a clear-cut contender? They are going to be a Super Bowl team, not necessarily a Super Bowl favorite, but you think they can hang with any team in the NFL, or do you agree with me? Or do you think they're a clear-cut pretender? They're not even coming close. They are going to get a top 10 draft pick. They are going to finish below 500, or you kind of split in the middle where I'm pretender, but I am in the middle in the sense that if they make some big quarterback changes, my opinion could sway either way. Tell me where you guys are at. I love hearing your opinions, your comments, your takes. I love replying back to you guys. And maybe one of your comments could swing me the other side already. I'm open to it, like I said. And referring back to the question of the day, or at the beginning of the video, what do I think the Bears record will be? This is another one. Who's starting for the Bears? If Justin Fields starts week one and turns out to be the guy, I could see them getting 10 wins, going 10-7. But if Andy Dalton's there, then I'm thinking the other way around. I'm thinking 6-7 wins, 7-10 with Andy Dalton the whole season, 10-7 with Justin Fields the whole season. Obviously, I'm betting a lot on Justin Fields having talent that can win in the NFL, and I'm betting on him not being a bust. But there's risk to everything. I don't think he'll be a bust. I think he could actually get a winning record for the Bears this season. I think they have that type of talent. You guys tell me, though, do you agree or disagree with my record prediction, my take? Tell me everything. As always, and of course, thank you for watching, guys. 2-minute warning.